Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. I recently heard a news report, which I shall share with you in brief. Over the past 2.5 years, the majority of the world has experienced loss. We all acknowledge that. Millions have died, tens of millions have been sick. That's just physically. And with this loss, the majority of the world has developed a notion of loss of control. They feel out of control. With everyone working from home, studying from home, and so on, this sense of loss of control is impeding people from getting out of their heads. People are all alone with their own thoughts. And these thoughts, when they're not let go of, they become heavier, they become darker. Before, people were working from home, studying from home. When they left their home, even trivial interactions, like buying something or seeing someone across from you while driving, helped one get out of one's head. Can you all relate to this? And so in the field of psychiatry, there's a new illness. It's called distraction depression. People don't have an outlet, and this is causing their brains, their minds to become more and more depressed. What fascinated me about this report is how trivial interactions can help one so much. And it made me think about what a meaningful interaction could do to one. If a trivial interaction helps me to feel at ease, a meaningful interaction, like we have, will help us to heal. Heal from loss, heal from the sense of loss of control. While in Washington, D.C., during the day, I am teaching more than 50 high school students. And in the evenings, I'm speaking on essential steps to infinity. This is based on the course many of us took together, 100 Steps to Infinity. In the 10 steps that we're focusing on, yesterday, we focused on Shreya, a very popular and powerful word in Bhagavad Gita. The reflective definition for Shreya is vision. In our workshop, we're focusing on how do you practice this? And I'd shared with everyone, for one to nurture vision, one has to think big. In the Upanishad, the word is Bhuma. In terms of space, to think big, it would be highly egocentric to think that there is only the world. To deny planets, to deny other life forms. In our maps, there are multiple dimensions, dimensions within dimensions. And please don't feel like Vivekji didn't sleep enough. He's going on some psychedelic rant. Think big. In terms of time, thinking big about this, small thinking about time is that time moves in a linear way. Big thinking is time moves in a cyclical way. Don't we experience that every day? You wake up, you pretend to wake up, you sleep. And then we repeat. Time is cyclical. And I'll share one more mind-blowing revelation for all in terms of dimensions and time being cyclical. In the present, the Mahabharata is happening. Bhagavad Gita is being taught. In some dimension, in some time, that is happening. That's an incredible revelation. That's an incredible experience that our absolute creator didn't go anywhere. We simply have to think bigger. This is very much the teachings that have been coming out through these technical verses that we're navigating. The implication of what these verses are guiding us to. Procrastinating is dangerous. If you procrastinate on a green light, that's dangerous because people will honk at you. If you procrastinate on a red light, that's more dangerous. There are lots of vehicles involved. Procrastinating on what you're living for is dangerous because if we're living for divinity also, that is a form of procrastinating, we start to develop a disease. This disease is one of becoming. I'm ever trying to become this and become that. And what am I not becoming? Happy. The only way to end the disease of becoming is to be happy. That's beyond procrastination. And specifically, the verse we just explored in reference to when the relative creator wakes up, creation comes with that. When the relative creator sleeps, then what goes with that is creation. Making this personal. Our vasanas are unmanifest. It's like our relative creator sleeping. And then what happens? Our vasanas express as thoughts, words, actions. That's like our relative creator waking up. And then after we express our actions, our words, our thoughts, what happens? They become our vasanas. The relative creator goes back to sleep. And what I'm trying to share here, there's no escape. Vivek feeling that randomly, in some space, some time, I'm going to be enlightened, I'm going to be independently joyous, that is not going to happen. If one wants to transcend this box of vasanas, thoughts, words, actions, vasanas, one has to be active. Every day, every experience, to be intentional, to change one's print from dependently joyous to independently joyous. Before I continue to the next verse, verse 20, I'll have a quick social survey. By show of hands, how many of you feel I review too much? How many of you feel I don't review enough? How many of you are not listening to me right now? Because I don't see any hands. Vivekji, because you teach perfectly, that's why. Give me a break, okay? Recently, a seeker, one of you shared how much you appreciate the review. So I was thinking about, I hope you all feel like this. Verse 20. Parastasmatu bhavonyaha avyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. tu. Tu means indeed. There's an emphasis that is put. Tasmat. There's a conclusion. Shri Krishna is sharing a final thought before he begins another one. Paraha bhavaha anyaha. There is the manifest. There is the unmanifest. But there's another existence that is higher. Manifest, unmanifest, and there is more. Avyaktaha, vyaktat, sanatanaha. From the unmanifest, there's another unmanifest, which is sanatanaha. In your book, it says eternal. Why this definition is important? Because so much of this chapter is about time. But more so, sanatanaha means infinite. Personally, what this feels like is independence. Sharing the implication of these first two quarters. We are all entities, articles, beings, and circumstances. If we zoom into beings like us, we have equipments, like the body, mind, and intellect. So far, so good. This is all manifest. But the manifest depends on the unmanifest. The entities are really equipments. The equipments are really elements. All that I am is a combination and permutation of space and air, fire, water, earth. Shared in a more simplified version. Creation depends on a relative creator. Creation is like the manifest, the relative creator is the unmanifest. But now Shri Krishna is sharing there is more. What is more than the elements? Existence. What is more than the relative creator? Consciousness. And when one knows, that's what one is tuned into. One has the vision of existence, of consciousness. Then what does one feel? Ananda. Joy. This chapter is focusing on death. Does existence die? Does awareness die? If you know you are existence awareness, that means you don't die. Isn't that the experience of joy? Where is this existence awareness, which is such a foolish notion itself, but we're so tightly oriented towards space and time? Where is existence not? Even non-existence has to exist. Where is consciousness not? I have to be conscious that I'm not conscious. So Shri Krishna shares in the third quarter, Yaha, what I've just described to, Sasarveshu Bhuteshu, that Sarveshu, in all what? Bhuteshu, all beings. Isn't this the same message we heard in chapter 7 about a thread in a necklace? Isn't this the same message as chapter 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2? Are you living like this? In every being, point to me a being that you know of. Yourself. In every being, there is being. Capital B, being. We even use this in language, human beings. To tune into that, to intensify our experience. Chapter 8, intensity. to this being when Vivek contemplates whether I'm jogging or sitting, and I've disidentified from lifestyle, body, breath, mind, intellect, ego. The last prompt or the last reflection I have is Sat Chit Ananda Asti. I follow that up in English because I think in English. I know a little bit of Sanskrit, but I think in English. Life is being, and then my practice is be. And I don't know how this happened, but right beside me, I happen to have this gift that was given to me that says, just be. I didn't plan this. I'm like a TikTok addict actor. All of this is staged. Do you think this is staged? Do you see me? Final thought. Nashyatsu na vinashyati. This being, which is of the nature of existence, awareness, joy, when the small b being dies, the big B being does not. So does this chapter have to do with death? It does not. I have forever shared with all of you, the next time you're at a funeral and someone shares, his Atma has gone to a better place. You put your hand up and say, I dissent. I object. The Atma doesn't come, which means the Atma doesn't go. And there's your proof. You reference this entire verse, but the fourth quarter particularly, all that comes and goes is the ego. Built into the word ego is the word go, yes? Vicky, when are you going to end Meaningful Mornings? You are really stretching matters now. All of these paths that we're describing, the moon, the sun, this is for the ego. What should I do? Japa. As you think, so you develop. Keep thinking Om Ramaya Namaha. Keep developing into who you are. From inspiration to application. We've now completed 1 week of applications towards our Prithvi Seva Guide. My dream was within a week to have 250 seekers download this. We're at 175. I'm happy with that. I dream in a big way, whether that's realized or not. And one reflection I'm sharing with you is from Deepal from College Station. And she has very beautifully shared in an inspiring way that she can't wait to share this with her Balavihar class. To introduce this in the kids class she teaches. I'll be sharing the same with our youth tomorrow. I'm going to encourage them to download this and follow this. Here is your application for today. For the next 24 hours, you know, when you rest, you're kind of looking straight or with bad posture or like this. For the next 24 hours, your resting position should be looking up. Okay? So if you're walking, you walk like this. When you're driving, look straight. So even in Meaningful Mornings, okay? If you're practicing, show me. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.